With the first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards from the University of Georgia.
I think Anthony Edwards might be able to take over that #1 spot.
Dynamic athlete, right? He's like 6'7", 6'8". He's really powerful, and we've seen some of his explosive dunks, like some of the biggest dunks in the league.
Yep.
He reminds me of T-Mac.
A true definition of a generational talent.
D-Wade 2.0, similar body type, similar style of play. There's a lot of similarities.
Third-year leap. The third-year leap is the idea that a player who's projected to become a superstar tends to experience a significant rise in their production during their third season. Now, Anthony Edwards is coming off of an already massively impressive second-year leap, making significant strides in pretty much every area of his game. He scored with higher efficiency, he was a better passer, he was a better defender, and he put up some extremely impressive numbers in his first ever playoff series at only the age of 20. But it's not enough. Anthony Edwards needs to do more if the Timberwolves are going to make it work, with Rudy Gobert recently being added to the equation. They don't just need him to become an all-star, they need him to be a superstar. Now, is that attainable? Are those realistic expectations for a guy like Anthony Edwards? All signs point to the answer being yes. Now, to me, there are three areas in which Anthony Edwards needs to take a so-called leap in order to reach that upper echelon of players in the league. And that's his scoring, defense, and playmaking. Now, you can be an all-star on scoring alone. We've seen plenty of guys do that throughout their careers. You can be an all-star based on your defense alone. Even just being a great playmaker can help you rack up all-star selections. But to be a superstar, you gotta do it all. His first year in the NBA, he was already attempting some of the most shots at the rim per 75 possessions in the entire NBA, but he hovered around the middle of the NBA in terms of his efficiency at the rim. This past season, however, he's shown a pretty significant upward trend in efficiency while maintaining elite shot creation ability at the rim. There's a few traits that Anthony Edwards possesses that contribute to him being such an incredible finisher and shot creator around the rim. And that's his acceleration, his hesitation, his footwork, and the ability to quickly read and react to defensive coverages. Now, let's start off with his acceleration. Here, he's going to recognize that Mason Plumlee is just a tad bit too far to the left to guard the high pick and roll, and so he's going to immediately explode to the basket. And even though Miles Bridges is going to avoid the screen, he's not nearly quick enough to have any chance of catching up to Anthony Edwards. Now, when it comes to his hesitation abilities, I think Anthony Edwards is honestly incredibly underrated in how he uses it to generate shots at the rim. Here he's matched up against Wendell Carter Jr., and he's going to use a slight hesitation to get Carter Jr. on the back of his heels, and then use that as a springboard to detonate towards the basket. Here he uses the screen to get switched onto Poeltl, and he's once again just going to slightly hesitate, and you'll see that Jakob Poeltl switches his left foot back, allowing Anthony Edwards to blow by him to the basket for the finish. Here we're going to see how he takes advantage and reads and reacts to defensive coverages. He gets the ball on the wing, and Cat is going to be angling for a post-up, but Harrison Barnes is going to cut off the entry pass. Recognizing this, Anthony Edwards instead attacks the middle of the floor to force Harrison Barnes into a difficult recovery, and by then, it's way too late. Here he takes the screen, and he recognizes that Lamar Stevens is going to have his body angled towards the right sideline, and so Edwards is going to hesitate just slightly to get him flat-footed, and then explode up the middle of the court to breeze towards the basket for a dunk. He exhibits some really awesome footwork as well, and he's got one of the most underappreciated Euro steps in the entire league. He's really good at finding holes in the defense and stepping his way into space, and the fact that he's got such great touch around the rim allows him to compensate for some of the more awkward angles that arise as a result of some of this fancy footwork. His ability to get to the rim is where I think you can really tell that he played football. His burst through opposing defenders, the way he exploits small holes and makes small adjustments with his feet are the exact same things that we'd see from a running back. So not only is Anthony Edwards built like a running back, but he plays like one. Except he can also shoot threes. He bounced from 32% on 7.2 threes per game during his rookie season to 35.7% on 8.4 attempts per game. There's a big difference between being a 36% three-point shooter on, say, only spot-up threes. It's another thing if you're shooting 36% on threes with a high degree of difficulty that you're creating for yourself. And that's what's so exciting about Anthony Edwards. Let's take a look at this chart. If you divide it into 4 quadrants, the top left is guys who are great three-point shot creators, but not the best three-point shot makers. The bottom left are not great creators and also not great makers. Bottom right is great makers but bad creators, and the top right is great creators and great three-point makers. So not only is Anthony Edwards in the 90th percentile in three-point shot creation, he's also in the top 15% of the NBA in three-point shot making. And these numbers check out. He's looking super comfortable when he's in isolation beyond the arc. I know the James Harden comparison is something that he's been getting since he was in college, but I really do see a lot of similarities there. He does the same kind of thing that James Harden does with the between the legs dribble, where he almost seems to lull his defenders to sleep before he hits them with the step back or sidestep into space to pull a three. Like, look at this and tell me that it doesn't just scream James Harden. Edwards can shoot threes, he can get to the basket seemingly at will, but there's one piece of the puzzle that's missing in his scoring game, and that's a mid-range. If Anthony Edwards can add an in-between game to his arsenal, a reliable one, even just on par with league average, he'd be an unstoppable scoring machine. The stress that this would put on defenses would make it unbelievably difficult to defend him, because you have to guard him on the perimeter, you have to guard him in the paint, and you also have to guard him everywhere in between. He's already great at getting guys going downhill when they're anticipating the drive, and he's shown on occasion that he can capitalize when he stops on a dime to shoot it. It's just a matter of getting to the point where he's knocking it down consistently. This has a lot of implications for him as a pick and roll ball handler as well. One of the easiest ways for a team to beat the growing NBA meta of drop coverage is to have a reliable mid-range shooter that's capable of pulling up in space when the defenses are more focused on preventing a shot at the rim. If Anthony Edwards can do that, his status as a 3-level scorer is going to be undeniable. This all ties back into Anthony Edwards integrating more of a playmaking role into his game. I'm a firm believer that rim pressure is one of the most effective ways for guys like Anthony Edwards to generate offense, forcing defenses to collapse on you, which results in teammates being left wide open on the perimeter. As we've covered, Anthony Edwards has no problem getting to the rim, but if you look at where he ranks among the league in drive assist percentage, which is a metric determining how often a player passing out of a drive leads to an assist, he's still got a ways to go to get to the point where he's generating high value assists off of his drives at a consistent rate. Here's an example of what that looks like. When he's bringing the ball up, Naz Reid initiates the pick and roll with him, and the Suns are focused primarily on defending Anthony Edwards. The larger threat here is obviously Anthony Edwards getting to the rim. That's the priority that the Suns want to focus on. They're not really worried about Naz Reid as much. This is going to leave Reid wide open in the dunker spot, and Edwards is going to dump it off to him for the layup. We can see it again here as the threat of his drive is going to get LeBron to pull into the paint to provide help defense at the rim, and this is going to leave a wide open pass for Edwards to sling it to Prince in the corner for an easy 3. Now, this may seem like such a simple thing, but it's something that can take Anthony Edwards' game to a new level if he can really start to leverage that rim pressure. They don't need him to become a double-digit assist point guard, but I think it's entirely possible for him to become a 5 to 6 assist per game guy just by making more of a conscious effort to find his teammates when defenses collapse on him going downhill. Now, there's been a lot that's been made of Anthony Edwards and how much defensive potential he has. He's 6'4" or 6'6", according to Chris Finch, with a 6'9" wingspan. He's an athletic phenom, and he's already showcased that he has the drive and work ethic to get better. But what's actually realistic for Anthony Edwards? Is this just another case of people throwing around the phrase, he has all the tools in the world to be an elite defender, without there being any real likelihood of them reaching that potential? In Edwards' case, it's really hard to look at the improvements that he's made over the last couple of years and not think there's a lot more that we're yet to see from him as a defender. He's already shown us a knack for getting steals, being a very effective pickpocket, and constantly disrupting passing lanes. The Timberwolves kind of use a funky defensive scheme right now, and so it's hard to filter what exactly is a product of how he's used on defense and what's a product of his personal defensive abilities. All-in-one defensive impact metrics aren't really a be-all, end-all determinator of whether or not a guy is a good defender, but impact metrics suggest Anthony Edwards has definitely improved a significant amount defensively. Some of his issues right now lie in things like screen navigation. He sometimes gives up fighting over screens lanes and occasionally allows guys to get into easy shots and into easy driving lanes, but he's a very smart defensive rotator, and he provides some surprisingly solid deterrence at the rim for a guard. To me, the defensive issues that he does have lie primarily in the effort department and a general lack of experience. He started to show a lot more effort on the defensive end towards the last half of the season, but as his career progresses, I anticipate him only getting better as he learns how to defend certain situations and as he develops a better understanding of defending at an NBA level as a whole. All of his tools are undeniable, so if I'm being honest, I see a world where 4 or 5 years from now he's being talked about as an all-NBA level defender. He's absurdly fast and quick on his feet, he's got a +3 wingspan, and the most important thing of all is that he's coachable. He's willing to learn and do what it takes to get better on defense. Everything else is going to come. But he has one thing that isn't going to show up in the box score that sets him apart from not just his under 25 peers, but the rest of the league in general, and that's his charisma. Anthony Edwards has that superstar charisma where every word out of his mouth is an instant soundbite. He carries himself in such a way that it's reminiscent of guys like Michael Jordan. That confidence translates not only off the court, but on it too. There's no guy in the NBA that Anthony Edwards doesn't think he can beat. And to me, that confidence, along with everything else that I've talked about relating to his actual game, really cements in my mind the idea that Anthony Edwards is going to be a superstar in this league for a very long time. So what are your expectations from Anthony Edwards next season? Do you think that he's going to be an all-star? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. That's the #1 way to support me and help me continue to create content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.